touchdown passes last year. This one's knocked up. Bowers tips it to himself, and he'll score.
Snaps it anyway. Greer lobs it in the air. Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the left this year. Here's a blast, and Klubnik didn't see it coming. He got blasted by Kalen DeLoach, who has the ball and is heading toward the end zone.
What is going on, everybody? It is episode 58 of College Football Talk here as we are back after our little holiday hiatus, as we like to call it, or as I just made it up, really.
I mean, it works for me, though. I don't know about you. I like that, actually.
Yeah.
Holiday hiatus.
So we're back, and we got a nice little episode to talk about here today. Transfer portal, NIL, in National Signing Day news going around. We got our college football playoff preview with Washington, Texas, and then Michigan, Alabama Monday. But this is obviously, we're recording this as of Friday morning. So, we're not going to be having another episode until after the playoff has occurred. So at the playoff preview, we also have some Bowl Mania update as we do our Bowl Mania pick'ems. We got to go through up to this point, which is the Alamo Bowl, which is being played, I believe, right now, finishing up. And some Florida State news as they are trying to
I would say news, that's one way to put it.
Some trying to get out, knock on that exit door
Landmine
of the ACC. But
landmine.
Oh, yeah. But a lot to talk about, and we're going to get right into it. But make sure you guys are subscribing to the podcast, guys. Still stuck around that 80-ish number. Or just, if you're a new listener, if you're stumbling upon YouTube and you like what you're seeing, make sure you're hitting that red button and subscribing to the pod. If you're listening on Spotify, hit that follow button and subscribe there to the channel there as well. We're trying to get the numbers up. And the only way we can do that is if you guys are subscribing and liking the videos. So keep doing that, and everything will be good. So without further ado, we're going to hop right into it. We got our playoff preview.
Yeah.
And we're going to start with we'll start with the later game because I already have it up. So we're actually going to go in reverse order. We're going to start with the 8:45 game on ESPN, the Sugar Bowl, between Washington, the number 2 seed, and Texas Longhorns, the 3 seed. And first thing popped in my head when I saw this matchup came out is points. I think of two really good offenses with a lot of weapons on the outside, good running back play, really good quarterback play, and good enough defenses to manage team or to prevent teams from doing anything.
Yes.
Texas, I think, has the much better defensive line, led by guys like Sweat up there at the front. They're just a bunch of run stuffers that just don't let you do anything. They are very good on the run, which will be one of the big things looking at this game because, Texas, 4th in the country in playing the run, and offensively, Washington is 101st against the run, but they do have the Joe Moore winning award offensive line, which is a little funny because, I can think of a much better offensive lines than Washington has. No, nothing against Washington offensive line, but statistically, looking at the numbers and just watching the games, there's far superior offensive lines out there, but that's not what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about how the big thing you're going to watch here is can Washington protect Michael Penix and give him time to get to his guys like Polk and Adunze and all those other guys. So, and can Dylan what's his name? I just Dylan Johnson. Can he be able to run the ball effectively like he has the last couple of games? So I thought he did a really good job in a game against Oregon where I thought he wasn't going to be able to do much. He did. Yeah. He played really well. He was pretty much, I thought, the star of the show in that game, in the Pac-12 title game. So will he be able to do that against that Texas front, which does not allow you to do anything? Ask Ollie Gordon. Ask anybody else. Ask Jace McClellan and freaking what's his nuts, the quarterback. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm straight. This is what happens when you're running fun fumes here.
Bean, Kansas kid.
No. Jackson Bean.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just talking about the quarterback for Alabama that I just completely forgot here.
Milroe?
Yeah, Jalen Milroe. Oh my gosh,
dude, I was lost there. I was like, who are you talking about?
It's been a late night, guys.
Yeah,
Jalen Milroe struggled, couldn't really do much on the feet. You know, Jace McClellan, Jackson Bean, Ollie Gordon, like a lot of these really good runners have not been able to do much against Texas up front. But that'll be really where I'm looking at. Also on the back end for Texas defensively, can they hold up against those star receivers for Washington? Because for this point, Michael Penix has been able to just dial up anything he kind of wants to when he needs to. And it'll be interesting because there are spots back there that Texas back end that they can be exposed some. Will Washington be able to take advantage of that?
Yeah. No, yeah, I absolutely agree with what you said there. I think the biggest thing that pops out to me is what does Steve Sarkisian have under wraps that he's working on to give his offense that extra push? Because to me, I think this game was going to end up being similar to the Oregon game for Washington, the first game, where I think it's going to come down to a game of who makes the right decision at the end. We know in that game against Oregon that, Dan Lanning made the wrong decision and they lost. I think if we, go back in time, I think if they undo that decision, we might be talking about Oregon right now. My point is that I think this game is going to be really, really, really close. I think it's going to come down to if Steve Sarkisian has some special plays. Because I think when we talk about like the offensive gurus of the sport, right?
Yeah.
I think he's one of the highest of them all.
Yes,
we just saw Quinn Ewers throw for a career high. We're seeing him come into his own right now. That Texas offense looks incredible right now. The last 3 games they've played, they've been on a different level than the rest of the season. They've gotten past a lot of their struggles. They're looking really, really, really good right now. I think it's going to come down to, does Texas have some plays at the end of the game that can make a difference? But I don't know how you're feeling about it, but Washington to me has felt a lot of this year like a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many games have we watched where they've been, multiple number, like, you know what I mean? How they were underdogs to Oregon State, correct?
They were, yes.
Which is wild to me, by the way. I can't get over that's so weird to me. They were, but Hunter, do you think Washington's Cinderella run might end?
So I do think that they are a team that I don't think they're like, if you're trying to think of them as like last year's TCU team.
I don't think they're that bad.
Yeah, so I don't think they're like that.
Not that the TCU team was bad, but just like
I don't think they're going in as like a setup spot where they're just going to get manhandled.
Right. I agree with
I think there's spots where they can win this game. The camera's gone in and out here. I look at them as a team that, yes, they have skated by a couple games. Mm-hmm. It's been a lot of close games this season.
Yeah.
But what's been really impressive, though, has been when they've needed to win a game, make the plays needed to win games. They have done that. And, we talk about the Oregon State game. They were not favored I think they were ranked 3rd in the country at the time.
Yeah.
Going on the road in Corvallis, raining, cold night, not favored against an Oregon State team, a solid group, but not anything that's crazy jumps off the board. Go in there, and they make the plays needed. They get the turnovers on defense that they need, and then when the biggest players they need to step up, step up. You look at the Oregon games, both games. Defense stepped up when it needed to, and then the offensively, the run game stepped up huge when a lot of people doubted them. Again, that against Oregon, especially in the Pac-12 title game, as I said a little bit ago with Johnson, they were able to make plays and step up.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I do think they can win this game. But, I am a little worried, though, that Texas's playmakers on the outside are going to be too much for them.
Yeah.
Defensively. I just don't know if they're going to be able to do enough. I don't know if they're going to be able to get enough stops defensively to, create havoc and make viewers uncomfortable. I think they've really got to be able to somehow limit the run game. Some, if they can. It's hard, but they do play pretty well. They're 41st in the country against the run because outside of that, they rank 122nd against the pass, and Texas is 19th in the country in passing yards. So I think it's a tough spot for sure, but that's why I think points are going to be just kind of like I think it's going to be a high-scoring first half. I think you're going to see Washington's a really good second-half team with adjustments. As we've seen, you look at games like the Utah game and the Oregon game a little bit, and I'm trying to think there was another game that was kind of like that. But where points were just being scored, and then all of a sudden Washington settled in, made adjustments, and just turned up the pressure and just locked it down from there. So if they can do that against Texas, that'll be big time, and that will be how they will win this game. I think in-game adjustments are going to be huge in this game for both teams.
Yeah. No, I think so too. Yeah. I just when you say that, the biggest thing that points out of my head is that USD game. Where, you know what I'm saying about that one, but I just feel like Texas has just better athletes, personally.
Yeah.
I mean, not just like better athletes, but like athletes that like Washington hasn't faced guys like they're going to see against Texas for the most part.
No.
Especially defensively. There's guys on Oregon that are like that, but like some of those Texas defenders are different.
Yes.
Yeah, not to be too high on Texas right now, but like there's some of those guys that are really like, wow, like those are athletes.
For sure. And defensively, I mean, they meet what they're built up to. So I'm just really concerned that Washington's going to become one-dimensional. What Texas has been really good at making teams do this year. I mean, they were able to do it against Bama, and they were able to do it against Oklahoma State.
Yep.
The only team they really weren't able to do it against was Oklahoma. And that's really because of how well Dylan Gabriel was able to use his legs.
Yeah.
And even then, it came down to a last-second touchdown to beat them. So I just think that unless Michael Penix can somehow – and he's not really known to become a real mobile kind of guy. He can use his legs when he needs to, but he's not like designing QB runs and stuff very often. So I'm just worried that if Washington becomes one-dimensional, Texas is going to be able to kind of just put their pressure down, eat a little bit more, and make things uncomfortable where Washington's not going to be able to do stuff. And if they fall behind, are they going to be able to make it, even if they fall behind and become too predictable, are they going to be able to make enough plays to come back and make this a game? So that's why I a little bit lean Texas, but who do you like in this one?
I like Texas. Okay. I think Texas has better athletes, and I think they have better coaching too.
Okay.
Not to say Kalen DeBoer is not a great coach, but I think Steve Sarkisian is one of the best offensive minds in the game, and I think I got to go Texas here.
All right. What's the score you think?
I'm going 33-30.
So you like Texas to win, Washington to cover?
Yes.
So I like Texas to win. I think they're going to cover. I think it's a very high-scoring game. But like I said, I do think that majority of the points are going to get scored in that first half.
Yeah.
I like Texas, though, to win this one 41-30, like 41-33, something like that.
Okay.
I think it's a close game, one-score game, but I do think Texas makes enough plays late to get the win, obviously. And, you talk about Steve Sarkisian. He's done a really good job at being one of these guys that's taken advantage of the second opportunities.
Yeah.
You look at what he did back in, his prior 10 years of being a head coach, was not the very best jobs. And so he got a second chance with being an analyst and then an OC with Alabama.
Yep.
Got his shot back with Texas and was been able to turn this thing around. And this was a real big year for Sark because, as we've seen, like prior guys before him, like have gone and have had some success, but they like get the axe because those Texas guys, they don't settle for 8-4, 9-3s. Like they want championship caliber teams.
I think it's admirable personally to me to sit there and go like, hey, 10-4 is not good enough.
Yeah. So
coming in second place in the conference, that's not good enough. We don't do that here.
No.
So, I want to put a big congratulations to Texas for that one too, because they made the hardest decision there is to make in this sport, is saying, hey, we're good. We're not good enough yet, though.
Yeah.
We need to upgrade.
Yes, for 100%. So,
like Georgia made that decision back in 2016.
Yes. You move off Rick. Rick had done a great job. He got you. He made the program good, but it wasn't at that next level. And they needed somebody to just come in to take that next step, and that was smart. So, same thing here with Texas, and I really like where Texas is going. This game and in the future, they're doing really good in recruiting, really good in the transfer portal, and now here they are, game away, playing for a national title game. So, really good stuff there. We will move on, though, too.
I do want to say one more thing, though. I did call at the beginning of the year. I just want to say, I did say in our first preview of this season podcast, I think Texas is really going to be really good this year. And you looked at me like I was crazy. And then you came around to me like a week into the season. You were like, before they played Alabama, you were like, you know what? I think you might have something there.
Listen, you don't want to get caught up in the Texas hype is what we would call it. There's a lot of hype around teams that don't need it.
Yeah.
And that was one of them at the time. So, but here we are. I think people change. People turn the corner.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to shift gears to the early game, which is the Bama-Michigan Rose Bowl. The atmosphere of the Rose Bowl doesn't need any more explaining other than that. It is the Rose Bowl game, and it's the actual Rose Bowl game. We're not playing some crappy game in Dallas, Texas during COVID. This isn't some UCLA night game where they got Rutgers next year coming to town. I don't know, but I'm just making that up. I don't think Rutgers plays in Pasadena next year.
I think they go to Rutgers.
Even better.
Yeah.
Even better. Shout out Chiano and the boys, by the way, after a big one today. Anyway, so Bama, Michigan. It's 1 versus 4. Michigan being the 1, Bama the 4. Bama snuck in over FSU. Anyway, Bama comes in as a 1.5-point dog, I believe, unless the line just jumped to 2 as of late. Nope, still 1.5.
It says 2 on ESPN.
Okay. That's what I saw earlier, but I was going off of action.
It says Bama's a 2-point dog to Michigan.
Most books, I think, have it at 1.5 still, but 2. 1.5, 2. You're splitting.
I think most of the money is going towards Alabama.
But, yeah, most of the money lines and spreads are going towards Bama. Like on here, 73% Bama, 27% Michigan. Yeah. Looking at this, I want to say immediately I saw this and I said this matchup leans Bama, I think, especially coming off of how they played against Georgia.
Yeah.
In the sense that Michigan, kind of wants to play a similar kind of game like Georgia does, where Georgia wants to be a physical team that will beat you over the top, though, still. Because the quarterback play is just so good with Beck and all the weapons. But, they want to establish the run, And Michigan is the ground and pound. I'm going to try to hit you right in the mouth and beat you, bully you.
I would say Michigan looks like a team from, the 1970s.
Yeah, early 90s. Yeah, well, even, you want to take, an early, a 90s, 80s, 90s team that just wants to bully you.
It's all about the lines with them.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's in the trenches. Yeah. It's in the trenches. It's just ground and pound, just beat you up. And I just don't think immediately, I'm looking at that. I'm saying to myself, that's just not, you're not going to beat Bama by bullying.
Yeah.
Immediately, that's how I'm thinking here. Because Michigan, they're 60th in the country in running. running the football for yards.
Yep.
I mean, Alabama's 33rd in run yards per game on defensively. And they're 23rd against the pass. Michigan 75th in passing yards offensively. So immediately, it screams right there, defensively, Bama has the edge over Michigan's offense. I still don't trust J.J. McCarthy a lot. I think it's a really bad matchup for Michigan, honestly, because all I'm seeing is because what I watched in the SEC title game was a Bama defense that controlled the line of scrimmage and made enough plays on the back end with really good players to limit a Georgia offense that had been just humming and just cruising on cruise control. Not even cruise control, just light speed. I mean, averaging over 500 yards a game, 40 points a game, and they go into the SEC title game. I think they put up only about 320-something yards of offense. Had a couple turnovers. Like, they were pushed around. Yeah. And I see, if I'm just looking at that from the Bama defensively, Michigan offensively, I look at a Michigan team that has struggled in games that have mattered sometimes in games that they've mattered, they have kind of toyed around a little bit. Yeah. Where Bama is just, since defensively, like, they've locked it down. They have kept these high-powered offenses in check. And, vice versa, though, you're looking, okay, can Jalen Milroe make plays against a really good defensive team in Michigan? That'll be to tell, because Jalen Milroe didn't have to do any of the deep ball stuff against Georgia. Yeah. And they still won. So what does that tell you? It tells you that it was his legs that was able to be the difference maker. And Michigan hasn't seen a quarterback like that. The best quarterback Michigan's seen all year is probably Kyle McCord, and Kyle McCord's playing at Syracuse now. So, take that as what you want. But
I mean, it's either that or Talia.
And Talia Tagovailoa is not anywhere near what his brother is. So, yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I look at that, I'm just like, no. Like, I just screams, and I'm not being an SEC person at all. I'm being a true person that can watch a game and tell you that if Michigan really thinks that they're going to bully this team, they better just stick to Disneyland and not go to this game, because that ain't going to happen.
I think this is the biggest game we disagree on, because I think Michigan could do it, because I think Michigan has better athletes on those lines than Alabama does. Because at times this year, Alabama has looked weak, especially their defensive line at times has looked average at best. Which is what makes me sit here and go, if Jim Harbaugh in Michigan scheme it correctly, and they run the ball, they hold time of possession, and it's going to sound bad, they make Jalen Milroe incredibly uncomfortable all game. You push him after, like, the play or whatever, right? You just make him uncomfortable the whole game. If you make him uncomfortable, I think they have a really good chance at winning this game, because I think their defense is legitimately really, really good. They have 16 interceptions.
Yes, I mean, they're really good defensively, but unless you're Iowa, you're not going to. You can't win just defensively. Yeah, and you need a quarterback. You need your quarterback to step up, and J.J. McCarthy has yet to, in my opinion, step up when he needs to. Yeah. So, I mean, right now, would you rather take this very moment? Would you rather have J.J. McCarthy or Jalen Milroe?
I'd take Jalen Milroe, but I feel like I'm crazy for saying this. I don't think Jalen Milroe is that great of a quarterback.
Well, so
I sit there and I look at his numbers and I look at the teams they play, and outside of games against, like, he had a great game against Texas A&M, and then he struggled against Mississippi State. Had a great game against Georgia, where he threw for under 200 yards, but
I think you got to look past the stats some, though, and realize like what kind of difference though he made in some of those plays that he made against Georgia. Yeah, just looking at that game, because it was his key to using his legs. That's been the difference maker post the Texas game. Yeah, how Tommy Rees and Nick Saban have been able to formulate a plan to utilize Milroe in the way that he is built to be played. Yeah, has been why Bama's been able to make this turn. and have success because Jalen Milroe is now able to use his legs, get him out of the pocket. He's not a typical pocket passer, how they had him being in the early part of the season. Like, he's a guy, get him outside the pocket, get him on these, RPO game. Like, that's where he is, So I just think Michigan's haven't seen a guy like him before.
Okay.
And, we went into the SEC title game saying, is Bama going to be able to run the ball effectively? Can they control the line of scrimmage? That O-line dominated Georgia's D-line. And Georgia's D-line's no slack either.
Yeah.
So, and if you can do that against Michigan's D-line, forget about it. I mean, it was – and if you can just – if they're going to be able to push them around enough, I just think Bama has the edge there. And if you're Michigan – if you can't tell yourself, I just had it hard to believe that, like, you're J.J. McCarthy or you're a Michigan fan and you look at J.J. McCarthy lead team. If that run game is gone, do you really have full confidence that that quarterback can lead you? You're down 10 late in the third. Can you come back and win the game? With knowing on the other side, you got guys like Dallas Turner and up front. Just rushing you. And then on the back end, you got Terrion Arnold, Kalen Downs, Kool-Aid McKinstry, all these big guys on the back end and Malachi Moore, I think, so there too. So, like, really good guys back on the back end, really good guys up the front. Are you able to make plays? And I just don't know. I just don't think he can.
I think that's just where we fundamentally disagree because I just do not believe Alabama would be able to stop Michigan's running game because Michigan always finds a way to run the ball. They have never once in 3 years since they've been going to the playoff been able to been slowed down on the running game. Every single game they've played, they've still been able to run the ball. It doesn't matter who. I just don't see a world where Alabama can just cut that away from them and then they're just throwing the ball and they can't. Are you talking about
playoff games too?
I know the game against Georgia the first year.
Well, I mean, even TCU last year, they didn't really do much.
I think they ran the ball for 200 yards, though.
But when it mattered the most, quarterback play was not good.
Yeah. I mean, that was their problem last year was they went down big early.
Who do you think
they scored 45 points in that game?
And still lost. Yeah. Because of 2 pick sixes by the quarterback.
Yeah. But what I mean is I don't think, if you learn from your losses, right? I don't think they go, hey, guess what? We're not throwing the ball.
Who do you think has the most pressure going into this game? Does it Michigan with Harbaugh and all the drama that's been dealt this season? And, you're Michigan and you've been in the playoffs now. This will be your 3rd straight year. And you still haven't won a game. Is it them or is it Bama? Knowing just, honestly, Bama, I guess the only pressure would be like, really, are you really deserving of being here?
Yeah.
Such and such. But I think all of the pressure's on Michigan here.
I think all the pressure's on Michigan. The only pressure on Alabama is if they lose, everybody goes, well, Alabama didn't even deserve to be there. That's the only thing that happens, right? Yeah. Is people go, well, I guess, we picked the shitty team. So, you know what I mean? That's just what people are going to say.
I guess
it doesn't really matter.
No, because then you could really just say, like, then how much more deserving does Florida State be? Because they'd be put in the same spot. As a 12.5-point dog going into the game. So, you look at it like that. I guess, too, it's a double-edged sword. But who do you like in this game? Prediction here.
I like Michigan. I think that's where we just disagree. Just fundamentally how those teams work is I just think with Michigan's style, with the way Jim Harbaugh coaches them and how their offense rolls, I just cannot pick against them right now. They know how to make good offenses look pedantic.
I like Bama. I love Bama here. And I think you're gonna control the line of scrimmage. I don't think it's to be a crazy scoring game, but I think they're gonna make enough plays to where they're able to win this game, and you're gonna be able to. They're gonna be up enough where they're gonna make Michigan one-dimensional, and Michigan's not gonna have. I don't think they're gonna be able to do enough against that secondary for Bama. And I like Michigan, or not Michigan. I like Bama to win somewhere around 27 to like 30. You know what? We'll change it. We'll go 27 to 20-ish range.
I'm going to go 24-13 Michigan wins.
Okay. I think that's insane, but, you know.
I know you think that's crazy. I just think Michigan.
You're holding to 13 points?
Yes.
Crazy.
Nah.
That's crazy.
No.
That's crazy.
No.
He's crazy.
Michigan doesn't give up points. Whatever the game's going to be, it's going to be low scoring to me. And I think Michigan dominates. I think Michigan dominates time of possession. I think they have the better guys than Alabama does.
I think you're insane. But that's for us to talk about and for the games to be played out. Because the games are not played on paper, played on the field. So we will be moving on, though, to transfer portal, National Signing Day news. Mm-hmm. Last time we were recording, it was before National Signing Day came out. And so a lot happened. Georgia came in with the number 1 recruiting class in the country. All 27 of the original commits signed pre-National Signing Day. That included guys like Nashir Johnson, who was a Florida commit, who flipped, went to signed with Georgia. It includes guys like Ellis Robinson IV, who is a 5-star cornerback. Guys like Justin Williams, linebacker, who's going to be really good. Ryan Puglisi, who signed Andre Evans, who's going to be a really good defensive back. And then the big guy, that's the big flip in Florida State, original commit, verbal commit. KJ Bolden flips to Georgia, safety, 5-star, huge pickup for Georgia.
Yeah.
By the way, right there. So 28 guys committed. Just an outstanding class for Georgia, including, and then you look at the transfer portal for them. You got guys like London Humphreys from Vanderbilt, wide receiver, Colby Young, Miami wide receiver, Xavier McLeod, defensive lineman, South Carolina, and then the big one, Trevor Etienne, who I was super excited about just from a fan perspective. Looking at, now you get him from a really good player from Florida now to Georgia and that running back room. Gotta think he's going to probably be a 1-year, one-done guy. He does, I think, have 2 years left of eligibility, so we'll see. But Florida fans not happy about that one. Message boards were hype, a lot of threats, a lot of bad stuff, and a lot of people thinking that they want to see the Brandon Spikes to Noshawn Moreno recap for that game next year. So that should be electrifying. I think they're crazy, but that's all for them to think about. But I do think the big story, though, with I think Texas, big-time recruiting day. Bama had their guys. Big story, though, I think underrated team was Missouri. Yeah. Missouri really has done really well. I think they're 11 to 12 range right now in the recruiting rankings, but have done solid as also in the transfer portal. They've gotten guys, a lot of interior guys on the D-line and O-line. Got a guy from Oklahoma. They got a guy from Florida. So really doing a good job there if you're Eli Drinkowitz. But I think the big one, Florida entered signing day, I think 4th or 5th. Yeah. And by the end of the day, fell all the way to 16th. They did sign guys like Gregory Smith, 4-star safety, and then they signed the two 5-stars, and DJ Lagway, quarterback, and LJ McCray, defensive lineman. But 4 of the top 6 recruits all decommitted or flipped. On signing day, so not good. That's not ideal for Florida. And then you lost Trevor Etienne like a couple days later. And, you lose guys also like Princely. I can't even pronounce his last name. Umanamalin. I totally botched that. Apologize. Lost another guy to, you lose another guy to, what am I thinking of? Who am I thinking of? Lost another guy to Missouri. Just said. Decommitting Nashir Johnson went to Georgia. Lost a guy to Miami, A&M, Auburn. So we're losing guys to other guys in the conference or in state. Not good there. So that's not got to feel good, right? a lot of 3 stars. Not saying they can't do anything from it, but
Yeah.
if you're looking from just a recruiting aspect, it's got to hurt a little bit knowing that you fell like 11, 12 spots just off signing day alone.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I mean, to me, I think that's like, the biggest thing we've been hearing a lot of is that Billy Napier's future wasn't tied to this season. It was tied to that recruiting class, right?
yeah.
And then now that recruiting class is about where the program's been the last 10 years, right?
Yep.
Not
even.
mid-teens.
Not even.
I mean,
Dan Mullen was like
pulled in
an
a couple
average.
10% classes.
Average was like a 9 through 12 guy.
Yep.
Averaged.
Mhm.
So he
I
did
think
better, and
yeah.
he was lackluster in the recruiting department.
Yeah. It's just bad. And as a Florida State guy, might have talked from we lost 2 guys, but to me it's like Florida State's landed a top 10 class.
Yeah, he fell all the way to 9, but still, yeah,
Yeah,
like you said, a top 10
he fell
class.
from 4 to 9. It's not the same as falling 5 to 16.
Yeah, no. So they take a hit there.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see how they play next year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of young guys who are going to have to step up in a big way for the Gators. Mm-hmm. Will they be able to do something? We'll see. I know LJ McCray is going to be a guy that'll probably be a day 1 starter. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, I think it'll be a day 1 starter. My question with him is if he stays.
That'll be big because, you'll have guys like A&M probably and USC and Auburn probably all staying on the trail who were after him originally. Now they're probably going to be like, this is how the modern day college football is now, where you will sign. Verbal commits mean nothing anymore. Even when you sign, as my camera goes in and out.
Yeah. It's just refocusing. I don't know why it's doing that right now.
But even when you sign, it doesn't matter because with NIL, you can just transfer to NIL. You can just pretty much modern day tampering a thing. So it doesn't matter. So if I sign to Florida, that's great and all. But if I don't play, guess who knows about that?
Yeah.
A&M
everybody else.
A&M, Auburn, Ole Miss, they all know. Ole Miss is just picking guys off left and right on the defensive line. Pete Golding and the gang and Oxford are just eating up right now. I mean, let's go. I mean,
the Land Sharks
right now. Walter Nolan, they got 12 commits on the portal already. They are ranked number 1. They're in a battle right now with Colorado, who wants the top spot in transfer portal.
Colorado desperately needs that top spot, though, because
Colorado's number 2. Colorado's number 2, and I do applaud Colorado. I do have a weird thing with Colorado, though, but I'll say that in a second.
Okay.
Ole Miss is number 1 in the recruiting rankings. Mm-hmm. And you have 12 commits. Yeah. But it's just a couple here. Walter Nolan, number 1 recruiting. He was the number 1 recruit out of the 2022 class. He was the top recruit or top player in the portal. He signs the other day. They got Demarion Richardson, cornerback from Mississippi State. You got Tamarion McDonald, safety, Tennessee. And then you got Princely Umanamalin from another edge guy, Florida. Like, these are big-time defensive guys. And what has been something Ole Miss has always lacked the last couple of years, or just in general.
Just defensive guys.
Defensive guys, consistency defensively. And now here we are, stacking up the defensively. Defensively, you bring in a bunch of guys that know what they're doing. And now you look at the offense. You got Dart coming back. You got Junkins coming back. You got Harris on the outside coming back. You got a plethora of weapons. And this team can make some noise in this SEC race next year. So I really like where this team is going. Kiffin has got this place going, this program going in a great direction. And if they can cap off this year with a Peach Bowl win Saturday and really get momentum going into next year, that'll be big time. So really it just leaves the final hump is, can he get over the Bama hump, the Georgia hump? He plays Georgia next year, and I think he might play Bama next year. I got to double check this schedule. But if they can get over one of those humps, look out. And then Colorado, really interesting what they did. Right now, number 2 in the transfer portal rankings, but they only signed 6 guys in National Signing Day.
Yeah.
But they have 18 guys out of the portal. And where they really struggled was in the trenches, on the lines, both sides, and they've really done a good job standing out. 5 offensive linemen are already signed, including, and then that national signing, that one of those recruiting classes, you got Jordan Seaton, the 5-star who verbally committed and then was talks that he was going to decommit and go to Maryland, stays, signs with Colorado, and you got 4 defensive linemen, including a Vanderbilt receiver and Will Shepard, who's really good. So Deion's doing well there. I like how Deion's addressing the issue. You know what I mean? Like, where did Colorado struggle the most this year? Protecting Shedeur Sanders up front offensively and doing anything, stopping the run or getting pressure defensively on the line. So he is addressing that issue wholeheartedly, and I do like where this team is going if you're just trying to be optimistic there. Any speculations? I know, you're being caught up with the quarterback race as a Florida State fan. Who do you think the next domino to fall is? Because, you still have guys like Julian Fleming, Cam Ward, DJ Uyunglele still out there. I believe Dante Moore already signed. I think he committed already to Oregon.
Yeah, he did.
But trying to think of some other guys that are still out there. They're big names.
Has Will Howard signed yet?
I think he is finalized it down to a couple teams. I know USC was in there.
I know USC is the big one for him.
Yeah. Evan Stewart.
It's 2 schools.
Evan Stewart also signed. Yep. I did have a list here. And then tonight, actually, Damani Jackson, star USC cornerback, who's a 5-star, committed to Bama. Also, Texas, who we were talking about earlier, Trey Moore, who was this year's AAC Defensive Player of the Year defensive end from UTSA, signed with Texas. So a huge job right there for the Longhorns. But who do you think the next domino to fall is here?
I think Will Howard was the biggest domino to fall next for me. Because I looked at, he's narrowed it down to either Ohio State or USC.
Okay.
I think it's one of the, because we're about to see, because the portal closes on the 2nd, right?
I think so, yes.
So the guys who have to sign left are the big guys, at least like quarterbacks, right? Cam Ward, DJ Uyunglele, and Will Howard. Those are the big 3 left. If I'm missing any, just let me know. I think those are the big 3 left, though.
Yeah.
I think as of now, what's going to happen is I think Cam Ward will sign with Miami, DJ with Florida State, and then Will Howard ends up at USC.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
I think that the next domino to fall will either be Cam Ward, either with Miami or Florida State, and then I'm really interested to see where Evan Stewart lands, who's the A&M receiver.
Yeah,
because just how big of a playmaker he is. Because if he wherever he goes, he's going to be a top guy.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. I've seen things where he might go to Tennessee. There's talks maybe he goes to Bama, Ole Miss, Florida State. I think I saw was something.
Yeah.
Possibly Oregon. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes.
I think the big interesting thing about Evan Stewart is not really interested in Bama or Texas. That was a big thing I saw come up. Is that he's not really considering either of those schools, which is very interesting.
Yes. That is for sure, yes.
It looks like the big 5 with key interest in to watch out for with Evan Stewart are Tennessee, USC, Oregon, Ole Miss, and Florida State. Those are the big 5. And
Stewart might be waiting to see as far as Florida State goes. Keep an eye on there with that connection to who's playing quarterback there next year. Because if it's Ward or Uyunglele, maybe he likes that and he wants to go there as well. Because that would be big. Because now you have guys. Because in the recent news with Wilson and Keon Coleman, both are going to the draft. That leaves 2 open big spots. Why not go get a big guy like Evan Stewart to try to fill that role?
I think if we're going to be honest, right this second, Cam Ward is the biggest thing because I think that determines everything else.
For sure. It's kind of like how I think with Georgia, kind of like with Carson Beck coming back, you're going to start seeing guys after this bowl game make a decision, especially defensively and offensively. The pendulum's going to swing with, do you want to come back and make one last run here? Or are we going to just kind of forget that and just go to the draft, which is fine as well. So it's crazy how whoever playing quarterback is going to decide whether or not you're coming, staying, or leaving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, that's modern football, though.
There you go. All right, we're gonna move on to talk about, just a little fun segment we call the weekly FSU rant, where FSU now is going to want out of ACC, but the ACC said, whoa, stop it right there. You can't get out right now unless you want to pay a nice bill. It's just a casual bill, just a casual one. Last time I checked, because everyone can afford this one, it's $527 million.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can't pay that. Maybe Dylan and the FSU gang can.
Yeah.
But I sure as can't.
So we haven't been able to cover this this stuff yet because it's an ongoing thing, and we know little about it really in the grand scheme of things, right? We just know what. So I'll start from the beginning. This isn't new information, really. I mean, it's new that the lawsuit is starting, but the biggest thing, knowing that Florida State wants out of the ACC, this has been pretty much an ongoing thing since what? A couple years now.
Yeah,
pretty much. For those who don't know, back in 2012, Maryland left the ACC for the Big Ten, right? At the time, because of that, schools like Clemson and Florida State talked to other conferences about leaving the ACC. Specifically, Florida State was linked to go to the Big 12.
Like it.
I mean, interesting.
Love it.
Interesting thing that almost did happen. There almost was a Big 12 of Texas, Oklahoma, Florida State, and Clemson. Just saying, the conference might still have all the four of those schools together now if that would have happened. But it didn't happen, right? So after that happened, the ACC came up with the worst agreement ever with ESPN, where they got all the schools to agree to give up the rights for a long-term deal and then did not explain to the schools the deal they signed with ESPN. They signed a grant of rights through 2036 in hopes to set up the ACC network so that they could fund all the schools, right? In exchange for giving up your rights and getting a lower payout, they would get their own network that they could make all the money from, right?
Yes.
That was the idea pitched. Mind you, this is 2012, and, cable is still massive. Streaming has not taken off yet, right? Netflix is not there. None of that stuff's here. So, flash forward to around 2018, was it 2019, whenever Texas and Oklahoma decided, hey, we're leaving the Big 12, right? We're going to the SEC. And the SEC is renegotiating its contract so that they'll be getting around, $80 million a school payout yearly?
Yeah.
Florida State is absolutely like, we're getting out of the conference, right? They have lawyers at the school to say, hey, let's look into this. Then, the public finds out, hey, the ACC does not let the schools look at the grant of rights, right? That is extremely weird. So how it works for some reason is the ACC has the grant of rights, right, in their offices in Charlotte, and they don't let anybody look at it from any of the schools without an ACC specializer with them to look at it with them. So they don't let the schools, which are public universities, have access to documents about the rights that the schools have to their own names.
Hide something.
Exactly. That's the big thing that everybody's talking about when it comes to it. And the big thing they're talking about is the fact that in 2016, when they renegotiated with ESPN, because the deal was supposed to be in 2021, ESPN had the option to void the years from 2027 to 2036, right? The commissioner of the ACC at the time is supposed to ask all the schools permission to let ESPN wait to do that. He didn't ask the schools and did it quietly behind the scenes. He extended ESPN's decision till 2025. So right now, as the deal stands, in 2025, ESPN can void their payments to the ACC, and the ACC, and they'd still own the ACC's media rights from 2027 to 2036.
Huh.
So that all the schools in the ACC will make zero money. From 2027 to 2036, they will not make $1.
Which is funny.
Yeah. It's also funny, somehow ESPN was able to negotiate with the ACC that there wouldn't be interest or the numbers wouldn't be adjusted for inflation. So if you're Florida State, you can obviously see what their problem is, right?
Yeah.
They believe that the ACC went behind their back as a partner. It was acted in bad faith, right? That's their legal argument, is that the grant of rights doesn't make sense, that it was poorly written, and that it's not all encompassing. And we really don't know what will happen at all because nobody's ever challenged a grant of rights before.
No.
I mean, for all we know, Florida State could show up in the courtroom. A judge could say, this doesn't hold up at all. And all ACC schools will leave within minutes. I
think that is it. I believe that also the big thing right now is that, they're trying to take this to court, but Florida State side, they're just trying to get the ACC's throwing this bill, like this number, massive number of over $500 million out of hey, you want out. Here you go, sign this check and you're gone.
Yeah.
But Florida State's like, well, hold on. We don't want to sign that. We want this. Let's try to get this bar down some.
So, that's another.
We need this number down some. And unless that, we're in the budget here.
So, I believe it was the 20th, right? Am I wrong? The 22nd. The 22nd, Friday the 22nd, last Friday. Florida State had their Board of Regents meeting where all the board of the school came together and they talked about it, right?
Yeah.
And pretty much they laid out 7 things that they were going to talk to the ACC about when it came to suing them. The biggest thing to them is they want to know where $500 million really comes from to get out of the deal.
So apparently,
because they don't make $500 million.
So I have the breakdown here.
Yes.
And it's the trajectory of ACC levied penalty for withdrawing from 2010 to 2023. So in 2010, zero penalty amount, zero ACC Constitution. And in the September 13th, 2011, $21,777,642 was the ACC withdrawal penalty. Yeah. The September 12th of 2012 is over $52 million. It was about 52.223 million-ish. Was the severe ACC withdrawal penalty. Then September 11th of 2013 was $234,266,342. It's the ACC GOFR plus severe ACC withdrawal penalty, leading all the way up to 2023, which was $572 million for the ACC. The GOFR plus severe ACC withdrawal penalty. So that's the breakdown right there. I think that's how it came right there.
Mm-hmm. So the biggest things that I can find is that nobody really knows where this could go, right?
No.
But there's a couple things that Florida State is questioning legally about. The $130 million exit fee, which is 3 times the ACC's operating budget. They're questioning, where does that come from?
Yeah.
What's the legal avenue? And they're also questioning the $420 million in media rights. Because obviously their legal argument is we're not making that money. Where's that money coming from? Why that you understand what I'm saying with that part?
Yeah.
Is there
you're just making up a random number here.
Yep. That's their it sounds like a weird legal argument, but their real goal here, right, is
to drag this out.
They're
trying to drag this out.
Because the ultimate goal is that they want ESPN and the ACC to go, hey, we don't want to get into court because we don't want to get subpoenaed.
Yeah.
Because that's the big scary thing. That's the scary thing that happens is if Florida State, the ACC goes to court, then the ACC and ESPN would have to release all, not just the grant of rights publicly, but all text message conversations, every documentation they have. And you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I think it sounds dumb, but that's the worst thing that could happen to you is you get all that information.
I think it's just going to get drug out for years to come.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I don't think Florida State's going to be – they're going to get stuck playing the ACC for the time being, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
It's going to be something that probably won't be fixed until at least, I would think, maybe 2 to 3 years from now.
Yeah.
If that. So it'll be interesting to see how this continues to play out, all this crazy nonsense. And I mean, you call it nonsense, but just all this craziness that's going around with the conference realignment.
Yeah.
Conference expansions and teams now wanting out when they're kind of stuck in a spot where they legally can't. So they got to take it to court. It's crazy stuff, but definitely something we're going to keep an eye on. But we're going to move on to Bowl Mania time. We're going to update us on our Bowl Mania scoreboard. I have the paper right here. Dylan better pull up a sheet because I feel like a lot of L's are coming his way here.
Okay.
So we're just going to run down the list here and I'm going to check it off. I'm going to make a little tally here for Dylan and me. See who is winning. Dylan, Georgia State or Ohio? Who'd you have again?
I had Ohio.
Okay, so we each had 1 point. I had Jacksonville State.
I did too.
Okay, so that's 2 points. I had Appalachian State over Miami, Ohio.
So did I.
Sweet, that's 3 points. New Mexico State over Fresno State.
I had Fresno.
So you had a point there. Boise State over UCLA.
I had UCLA.
So another point for Dylan. Texas Tech over Cal.
I had Tech.
So the same. So Dylan had a point there. Hunter got a point. Ready? Western Kentucky over Old Dominion.
I had Western Kentucky.
Same here. What a comeback for Western Kentucky, by the way. There.
I was
comeback.
There. I was like, dude.
Matt, I think you were down 28-0, 28 something like that.
It was 28-0. Yeah, they had 0 points.
Crazy comeback.
Yeah.
Marshall UTSA.
I had USF. Oh nope, wrong. I'm out of order. Marshall. I had Marshall.
Marshall won that game. Or lost. I think UTSA. No, UTSA won. Double check that for me. Believe UTSA won.
UTSA won.
Okay. I had UTSA. You did not.
Yep.
South Florida. What a job.
Florida.
What a job for South Florida.
Yep.
And Golich and the boys down there. Complete slaughtering of Syracuse.
Yeah.
Just an utter beatdown. 45-0. Congrats to USF. Really building something down there. I think that was 7 wins for them or 8 wins.
That's 7.
So 7-6 win for a team that was irrelevant.
Yep.
And now you got the new stadium. You just got a 5-star or a 4-star from Tennessee. So big time stuff, I think, coming for USF. And now we'll see if they can keep this going into next year.
Yeah.
All right. We got Georgia Tech. I had over UCF.
I had UCF.
L.
Yeah, I know. This is bad.
Shout out to the state of Georgia, by the way. So if Georgia beats Florida State this weekend, Georgia Tech and Georgia will have combined to have beaten every team, every Power 5 team in the state of Florida.
Okay. Yeah, there's 4 of them, yeah. I forgot. Yeah. I was sitting there and I was like, there's only 3. It's not that crazy.
Power 5 teams, yeah. So because you got UCF, Florida, and Florida State. Yep. So
because for a second there, I was thinking like, man, I guess I was like, for a second in my head, I was thinking all Florida teams. I was like, I don't remember anybody playing at FAU or anything.
I know, like, FIU, FAMU. Come on, guys. All right, moving on here. Duke, Troy. Duke won.
I had Duke.
So Dylan gets the point there. All right. We had Arkansas State over Northern Illinois for me.
I had Northern Illinois. Let's go.
Northern Illinois won? Okay. James Madison over Air Force. Air Force won.
I had who'd I have? I had JMU.
Okay, same. Utah State beating Georgia State.
I had Utah State.
Utah State won?
Let me double check that.
I think they won. Or they lose?
Georgia State won. Georgia State won.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, I think they lost. Eastern Michigan, South Alabama.
I had Eastern Michigan.
Double check the score there. I just don't have the. I should.
Have Southern Alabama. Yes. Yeah, because that was the fight. South
Yes,
Alabama won.
because
Yes,
South Alabama. By the
Yeah.
way, that was a gutsy decision right there by that guy.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah. What was he thinking?
I don't always agree on stuff like that. So, if maybe, you go off, I guess, if you want to take on kamikaze
The whole
style.
team. The whole team.
Coastal Carolina taking care of San Jose State.
Yeah, I'd pick San Jose.
That is pathetic on your end. Coastal,
Yeah.
never a doubt the Shawnees. Did you see the pics? Cheerleader and the coaches just standing out on the beach. You should have known by that point they were going to win. Minnesota, disrespectful that they were even playing Bowling Green.
I picked Minnesota.
Yeah.
They went 5-7 though.
Who did?
Minnesota. I guess 6-7 now.
Well,
they went 5-7 to the regular season. They were barely even bowl eligible.
Well,
they got it due to classifications.
Get in and you win. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
That's what Bama's gonna do this weekend. So this is gonna
he
do
gets
that
out recruits. He's like, hey, you know what? We go 6-6 every year.
Extension time. All right, we got Rice and Texas State. Texas State beat Rice. It's a shame that Rice lost. But
I had Rice.
Same. Kansas beat UNLV.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas covered the number, by the way, too. Did you have Kansas?
I had UNLV.
Pathetic again. UNLV. So here we go. Kansas had over 200 yards and penalties, threw 3 interceptions, still hung 49 and still won by 13 and covered. I don't know how that's possible.
I don't know either.
But they showed that it's possible. So
I saw people saying Jameis Winston's stat line looked like.
All right. We got Tulane losing to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech.
I had Virginia
Nice
Tech.
job by Virginia Tech. They keep an eye on them going into next year. A little momentum going.
Yep.
Could be a team now. I think Virginia Tech's finally back to be competing for the top of the ACC. Good job by them. Did you have Virginia Tech?
I did have Virginia Tech.
Okay. All right. Moving on. We got West Virginia, the Mounties. Care of North Carolina.
I had the Mounties Mayo Bowl.
Big time. Great job by Neil Brown in a season where he needed a season to do something to save his job. 9 wins. Could have been 10 if they played a Hail Mary right.
Yeah.
Didn't. But nevertheless, 9 wins, building really big momentum going into next year. You got your quarterback coming back next year.
Mm-hmm.
I like where this team's going, and they should be a team that will be competing for the Big 12 now with Texas, Oklahoma gone. Wide open in that Big 12. So I like them as could be a sneaky dark horse to possibly compete for the Big 12 title game next year. We'll have to keep an eye on that, as always. Louisville, stinker against USC. Miller for USC. My goodness, 6 touchdowns against that Louisville Cardinal defense. Holy cow, Miller Moss just completely dominated.
Yeah. Who did you have?
I had Louisville.
So did I. Yeah. We both missed.
Just gross. Oklahoma State, though, did have beating A&M.
Me too. Taking that one.
Nice win right there for Gundy and the boys. Don't know how they do it, but they finished with 10 wins this year.
They always
Don't know how.
They always do it.
They find a way to just mess around and get 10 wins again. All right, we got today's games now. SMU stinker early in the morning against Boston College.
I had BC.
All right. And then Rutgers, Schiano and the boys taking out Miami. Had Rutgers, excuse me.
It was not at Rutgers. It was at Yankee Stadium.
Did you have Rutgers?
I had Rutgers.
Okay. All right. Dang, my thing is just refocusing out of it. Here, let's just bring on standard definition, guys. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Here we go. All right, and we had the Pop-Tart Bowl. By the way, stole the show tonight. Twitter loved everything about it. Pop-Tart Bowl needs to be a New Year's 6 possible national title game every year. I need an edible mascot every game. Here on out now. Just complete beautifulness. I don't even know if that's a word, but just the utter pageantry of college football. The European mind can simply not understand what makes this sport so great, and it is a Pop-Tart being a mascot, being and the announcer saying he will be devoured and he will die. So this is why this sport's so amazing. Nonetheless, though, during the game, Kansas State with a nice win.
I missed that one. I missed on that one.
Tough luck, I didn't. So
okay.
All right, and then tonight's game, which just finished up. Holy cow! Arizona came back and won. Holy man.
Yes.
Holy cow! They were down. So, we're talking about this. I did not keep the score. So at the time we were recording this, it was 12, a little past 12, probably about 12:20, 12:30ish. Oklahoma was up 24-13, I believe, in the late third, and possibly going into the fourth.
Yeah, they were.
Arizona won 38-24.
They scored 17 in the fourth quarter.
Holy
cow. They scored 8 in the last minutes of the third quarter and then 17 unanswered in the fourth.
They scored a 57-yarder. They forced 6 turnovers and beat Oklahoma. They scored a 57-yard touchdown to take the lead.
Oklahoma had a 96.2% chance of victory a minute before the fourth quarter.
Jackson Arnold, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns in his debut. Did throw 3 picks. He threw the ball 45 times.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
Mind you, they gave up on what's-his-face? Dylan Gabriel for him. Crazy.
How about Jed Fish? 10-win season. Their over-under was 4.5.
10-3.
10 wins.
Great year. And thank you for
Arizona.
You
and now we have Noah Fafita, who's going to come back next year. He was the Pac-12 freshman of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Arizona's going to the Big 12. They will be a legit contender.
Yep.
A sneaky. I'm talking possibly predicting my Big 12 pick this year. Right now.
Already?
I mean, Arizona, 10 wins.
Yeah, I mean,
they're going to be a preseason. There will be a top 15 team.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that is awesome to see right there. And that means a point for me because I had Arizona.
So did I. One game you did miss, though. You missed one game.
Which one did I miss?
Northwestern versus
so
Utah.
This game actually is funny because it wasn't even on my sheet. I had Utah winning, though.
I had Northwestern.
You're lying.
I'm not lying. I have it right here. You know what? You can roll back the old footage, too. I'll pull it up right now.
That's garbage, but I'll give you a point anyway for it. Okay, so entering into tomorrow's games, which will start with the Gator Bowl, Clemson, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Which is Friday. We have a slim Dillon lead of 18-16. Heading into the December 29th games. So keep an eye on that as bowl season ramps up here.
I'm pulling up those bowl games real quick. I want to see if they're hit.
Here we go. So tomorrow's games are. Here we go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow's games, we got Kentucky, Clemson in the Taxslayer Gator Bowl.
Yeah.
Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl at 2:00. Oregon State, Notre Dame. Memphis, Iowa State, Autos and Liberty Bowl. And then our first New Year's Six bowl game kicks off with Missouri and Ohio State.
Yeah.
So we will be back next week. Actually, we got one more thing to do. Winners and losers of the week. Dylan, give me your quick winner and loser of the week.
Oh, winner to everybody for the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Pop-Tart Bowl.
Easily.
For sure.
I mean, that was awesome. That was just I watched that video, dude. That was awesome. But my other winner of the week is probably the Clemson and North Carolina for getting to watch Florida State figure out how to get out of the ACC without having to spend a dime. I mean, they're just sitting here going, this is everything I could have hoped for. Somebody else does the hard work for us.
Winner of the week is Arizona for what they just did tonight, coming back and winning like that. The Pop-Tart Bowl is an automatic winner for sure. It's going to be a winner forever in my heart. And Arizona just winning. How over under 4.5 was their total.
Yeah.
Smash that. They have a quarterback injury early in the year. Noah Fafita comes in and just completely just takes this team on a 10-win season. Love where they are going, and like I said, legit, I think they will be competing for the Big 12 next year. Loser of the week is the ACC. Bowl season right now has not been kind to them. Let's see. We already have losses from Syracuse, North Carolina, NC State, Louisville. And your only win right now, I believe, is Virginia.
Boston College.
Boston College, Virginia Tech, and Georgia Tech. But still, can't be losing. You're the big bad ACC. Come on, guys. But if there was another, I guess, loser, just if I'm looking recent memory here, Florida, just from a recruiting standpoint.
Yeah, just the recruiting.
You lose Etienne and all some of the other guys like Princely, and then you fall from 5 to 16 like that in the recruiting rankings.
Yeah.
Interesting to see. Just from that alone, it's not good. But we'll see how Napier and them take on that, plus this gauntlet of what they have going forward in the schedule next year. So a lot to look forward there.
Before we close out, I do want to let you know, if you listen to our last podcast, timestamp 58:34 on the YouTube video is where I picked the Wildcats over Utah.
Also, I guess shout out here. Shout out to the College Football Talk t-shirts, guys. If you want one, DM one of us.
Yes.
DM me if you want, actually, on
Instagram. Go with Hunter. He'll be able to get it to you quickly.
DM me on Instagram or Twitter, Hunter DeLauder.
Yep.
You guys want one? We got sizes. A lot of XL. So if you're an XL person, but really comfortable shirts. I love wearing them around. I wear them to the gym and just wearing them around the house and stuff.
Yeah.
Out in public. Getting that brand. See it right there. Show them the other side too.
It's almost like a polo style.
Not even a polo style. Yes. Yeah. Beautiful shirts. If you want one, feel free. We'll send them out for free.
Yeah.
Make sure you subscribe, though. If you have to be subscribing.
Yeah. Show us that you're subscribed and
screenshot of subscribing.
Show us that you like our videos. Just send us a screenshot of a like.
Yeah. Have to be subscribed and send me shipping info, and we'll send it out to you for free. Doesn't even matter. So if you're interested, send me a link or send me a DM right there. Be all your way.
Yeah. Just say your handle real quick so anybody who doesn't know it knows it. Yes.
Here, you know what? I'll add it in real quick. Here.
Yeah, just put it on there so anybody who wants one can see it.
It'll just be at hunter.delauder. It'll be under this name right here. Just see that name with my face or our logo. It's me. So make sure you're sending me out a link if you want one, but it has to have a screenshot of you're subscribed. I need some sort of proof. Make sure you guys are a fan of the pod. Regardless of that, though, we will be back next week post-playoff to break it all down, all the games, including the Georgia-Florida State Orange Bowl game. Should be a good one. Got all the Year 6 games coming up. Can't wait to see how we do in the rest of the bowl season pick'ems. And what else happens here at the transfer portal. A lot of that to break down. But looking forward to these playoff games. I think this is the first year, like I said a couple weeks ago, this is the first year. We have 4 legit contenders who all have a real big case. So it'll be fun to watch. I expect close games throughout. And hopefully we get some good ones. And we'll have it all breaking down for you next week on the pod. But make sure you guys are subscribing, liking the videos, and listening on Spotify. For Hunter and Dylan, it's College Football Talk. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.